greet our listeners because of they were happy to actually engage with you.
Oh, Arlewe Moruti, Arlewe, Aradimodiseva, Bariti, Radio Arona, a Mafolo, very hopeless farelo, or a refugee Latin, Asiga at Tato Arona,
yes,
the Tabata Ziling, the Mona Mogi Kilending, Kiwata Hopos Ori, Ritwakwana Ha, Kuluma, Owens and daughter. Yaga, last week we were all here. We still here even today. Moruti Kirekiba Hopot, Bane Balesio last week.
Already absence.
Yeah, the absence. Probably today we have more absence. If I was just on my absent in Kiran's Colombo.
Okay.
Ntuye Zalangori, Rona, Naba Kuluma Wens and daughter. The services are Rona, but to Badi Fumana Troliona.
Okay.
Yes, Siakalo Batlan people to come directly to us. This is just because we actually embarked in making the station to be recognized, more especially by the communities around the very same station. Yeah, Kuluma Wens and daughter, Kwa Pretoria, we deal with the following. Richega me anyezwing aina lebana bese mandate ya monyetsing.
Okay.
Re cheka me andate ya nyetsing me ya tlang lebana bese mandate ya monyala.
Okay.
Re ruta single mothers how to grow a boy child, groom him into a man and a champion and a professor and a radio presenter, and not Kuluma Wens and daughter, but better than that. Reruta me ya nyetswing mo hona le ngwana wa ngwanana kapa bana ba banana hore na communication ya bona e ba jwang ho fihlela me a etsa ngwanana eno e be a professor le yena, a doctor, a fihlelana le lelapa e le mme le yena happily so. Asina ditori tse tsitsipanyang maikutlo. You know sad stories about praising those whom she grew up within the spaces born. Very ruta basimenyani basebali dikolong kwan. How do they handle their relationships? Actually, in fact, Rutan Tatiling one, Lemufumariwai, Hamusmanyana Akena staging, all those signs. How do you encourage them? Or Afitle Lemona, Afitla Master stage. Because people always cry Balakauri. The stages are where parents start experiencing problems. We are also on JBV, Narelona Tatali, Corelona left and right. Like last week, we came last week, we had a male, a victim, not our victim. I always don't want to run away from the word victim. You know why I care about Ruti times, Baba Bawala, Bible, English. Okay. They read what is written there. Yeah. They read exactly what is written there. So, Baronama Masa Babalanga Sutu, Casaperiga Sutana, Harafitla Qua, Harafitari, Hutisarisa, the Ditaleta, Zavareti, it can also be. But was a Huawei Balagas of Hua, and we don't complain
about that.
Yes, really. But it has been, you were a victim before you decided to stand up out of this what you call, I always call it, I don't like calling it a trauma, as Moruti Aiso. I always call it a comfort zone. Because people have decisions to get out of this zone, but they fear the unknown. Some they fear Batari, some they fear Batswari Barona Batari, some they fear Karagetari. So that you are in a comfort zone. which does not last you, but which eats your life, you know,
Sure.
gradually. So today we are not going to be that much Moruti, Ja Lady, Mema Melerato, Renali, someone, like introducer, Le Hoja, Lady Pogojo. But was about Obana Hala TV. But I think once after these two sessions, last week and this one, Katimelo ya the management and planning ya one, Ria Holo Megere. They will be there. They will be there. Standing up and saying, this is me, not crying. Yeah, you show me to what the walk up and leave at all. I'm a fellow Balla or my place, I miss a bit. We. Or Eva Namuna, or Lisa Musadio.
Yeah.
Now. Kialevo, Dumelan, Lebaratu over Kamuganalin, Cow fella Haluno, Lebaratu over stations in Lebaratu over.
Amen.
Kialevo.
Yes, Baba Kabazi. Kabzela.
I'd like to greet all the listeners of Westside FM. It's good to be back, and my name is Lawrence Mkize, and I've been here before, and it's just good to be back, and it's good just to open up and recover from these things. I'm also part of the team of Kulmo and the and my task is to do outreach to young people, because you know that I'm also young. I'm 33 years old, male, and it's always nice to hear if you speak to young people and people your age and hear their stories. And so we do training and counseling and just education in terms of GBV and also femicide. There's a lot we are doing, and there's a lot in the pipeline. And we say no to GBV. And the only things that we ask from the listeners is just one, is that not only the perpetrator, also the victim. What we ask, listen to it, pray for us.
Yeah. Wonderful. That is very key.
Hello, listeners of Westin. My name is Lindie. Unfortunately, I haven't got to the stage of saying what my real name is, but I promise that soon enough I will reveal myself. And the reason being for me not being able to come out with my real name is because this is going to be my first time sharing what I'm here to share with everyone. So I really want to go about it the right way, starting with my family. But then when the opportunity came for me to come out, I took it with both hands because I felt it's the right time.
Wonderful. What's on the Westside FM? Okay, Moruti Lerato is already here. She has greeted you all. And then I think because of time, we are just going to run into it. Right. Chengu. Yes, Oslistelosis Lindie. And should we start with her? She must tell us her story, and start with when she finishes her story, then we can be able to cover and look at some of the loopholes, and then we see how we can go about from there. Because I think it's very important. Maybe some can really relate on with what she's going through.
Moruti, I truly agree with you. Totally agree.
Yeah,
actually, even the times against us.
Yeah. Yeah, let's give an opportunity to share with us. But we're speaking about gender-based violence. We're speaking about that monster, that beast that is in our community, that everybody is actually crying about. Some, they don't even talk about it, but it creates depression and they commit suicide without any saying or exactly what is their problem, especially on the male side. Amatota wa kulumi, sithi khuluma ndoda, amadoda awakhulumi, keep quiet at all the time.
bazenza izinto.
Bazenza izinto nabo Van Damme.
Yes, bro, Van Damme.
Yeah. Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris, yeah.
Yes, Sis Lindie, welcome to our studio. This is Jalady, our co-host, and then I'm Pastor Nkosi, you know, and then we've been running this now for 4 weeks.
Yes, Murut, it's been 4 weeks now.
4 weeks now.
For 2022.
For 2022.
Yes.
We're trying to fight, to look at which angles can we come so that we can be able to help or assist our community. Right, so we are going to hand it over to you so that you can be able to take us through.
Okay, Pastor, you spoke about the beasts and the monsters. My monster is deceased. He's dead, but he's still alive because he's still in my memories. I still think about it like it happened yesterday, but it is something that happened about 20. I'm 39 years of age, so it happened about 28 to 29 years ago, which was I was 12 years old.
Sure.
My monster was somebody that was supposedly my stepfather. I was raised by my aunt, and he was my aunt's husband. He raped me, he sexually abused me, he molested me, not once, not twice. And it happened, and when it was happening, it would be at night. It first started by him. He was very affectionate, in a sense that he liked hugging. I was the only girl in the house. I grew up with two brothers, which they are my cousins, but because I was raised by my aunts, they are my cousins, but I related to them as my brothers. There were two of them. I was the only girl in the house. So being the only girl, it didn't seem weird for him to be only kissing me or hugging me. But then when everyone else was not around, he would kiss me inappropriately. He would put his tongue in my mouth. Maybe my aunt would be in the kitchen, and if I tried to fight back, I would be scared what my aunt would think. He did this continuously until eventually he penetrated me. But what I think with me right now, what hurt me the most about the whole thing is that before it even got to a stage of him sexually abusing me, I tried to reach out. I tried to reach out to my aunt. I tried to two of my aunts. I tried to reach out to them, but I don't know what was holding them back into saving me or helping me, because it escalated into that fact that it became sexual. And my reason for wanting to talk about it is that I want to speak to the black families out there that as parents and as mothers, we need to be able to listen to our children. It doesn't matter what you think, whether you think they're telling the truth or not, but if a child comes up to you and shares, it doesn't matter how little the information might be, but you should always have the mind of looking into it. Because if my aunts had looked into my story, maybe it wasn't going to get that far. Because I at least had the courage to tell them that this man was doing this. But I guess they didn't do anything about it. So it happened. He would come at night when we were watching movies with my brothers, and everyone would be falling asleep, and sometimes I'll also be sleeping and he would carry me to the bedroom. We're staying in a 2-bedroom house, and he would take me to the bedroom while the boys would be sleeping in the dining room, and he would start kissing me. And I remember this one when it started being physical. He said to me, "It's not going to hurt." And I was so scared. But that day it didn't really happen because my brother walked in. And I thought to myself I was saved, but I wasn't. Because he wanted what he wanted, and he was adamant on getting what he wanted. But the following day, he did eventually manage to penetrate. Some days when he would do it, it would be Sundays, and we used to go to church every Sunday with the family. And most of the Sundays when he was there, he would convince us not to go to church. And I don't know, like, this is the question that I ask myself. I don't know if my aunt was in on it or not, because now when I think back and I use my adult mentality, it somehow seems like, because she would let me stay behind. And he would do as he pleases with me. I remember this one day we were going to church. This is one specific day that comes to my mind. I was wearing this dress, and then I was wearing stockings, and I think my stockings were running. I was between 12 and 13 years of age. And then my aunt said to me, "I can't go to church with her because I'm a stockings on Aranil." And I remember saying to her, I'll take them off and just go, it's fine. And then she just shouted at me that I must just stay behind. How am I going to go with socks like that? And I knew why I didn't want to stay behind. But somehow she insisted that I stay behind. And he promised that he would take us to the swimming pool, and that the boys also wanted to stay in. But then he said no, they must go to church. And I was left alone with him in the house. And it happened as usual.
Yeah.
And then eventually,
Just raise your voice a little bit for our listeners.
eventually I gained strength to tell my brother, because I couldn't keep up with it anymore. I told him because I said I needed him to help me, that we tell my aunt what's happening. But in telling my brother, I didn't tell him everything that happened. I just said, because it was his dad. So we used to call him Utata. And ngathi Utata mangabuza ufakile. And then he said to me, "Why you want you mama?" I said, he said he would help me. I said, okay, it's fine. We were washing the dishes on that specific day. And then he said, okay, let's go to the dining room. She was sitting there alone. He was not always at home. So on that specific day, he was on one of his getaways. He would come and go however pleased. We went to her. The kitchen, there was a door, and like umnyango valekayo, so masigezi just vala umnyango masikhuluma. She can't hear us on the other side. So we opened the door and we kept on pushing each other as to, okay, let's go, no, like, as kids, let's go, no, wait. And then eventually he dragged me and then he just said, "Usiyasa ngifuna ukukhuluma," and then ngathi hayi ngitshela ngithi I already told you everything. And then wamtshela wathi utata xa ingabuza usiyasanga ungifaka ilimi. And I think the reaction of my aunt is the one that made me to never talk about it ever. Because her reaction was basically we must just get away. And if I wanted to say anything to her, and mele ngikhulume naye, why mele ngithumele abanye abantu ngingazikhulumeli mina. I just went back to the kitchen and I guess I was defeated. And since that day, I never spoke about it. And somehow, I think he did say something to him, because since that day, it never happened again. And he was not as present as he used to be at home. And somehow when he was there, I was made to be away. And then time went past, and around 2099, moved to a new house in April here. And then year 2000, I think it was on the 5th of September.
Raise of us,
On the 5th of September 2000. No, my aunt, they were reconciling. My aunt told me during the week that they've been reconciling and he's going to come and live with us again. And the only thing that was ringing in my head was, what's going to happen to me? Where am I going to go? What's going to happen if this man is coming back? And keeping in mind that I had not spoken to anyone about this since the last time. And I was still scared to talk to my aunt. I will say, by God's grace, for me, he saved me. Because on the day that he was supposed to move back is the day that he passed on.
Sure. Yeah. Motivator WSFM, that's really, really tough and heartbreaking, Can I give Pastor Lerato to say a word or so, some few words, out of what you have heard. Very heartbreaking indeed.
Too much.
Let me start by saying thank you so much for opening up the first time. And you didn't see what we saw. It showed how difficult it's been for her. Even the body language, maybe you picked up when her voice would go down. Because it's not easy. Thank you so much, Boss. Thank you so much. But you just did. You told a story of many women, of many girls in South Africa, in our families. And you raised very important questions. I wonder whether my aunt wasn't aware. It's unfortunate that some mothers are even aware that their daughters are being raped by their boyfriends or their lovers. And they keep quiet because this man buys food. You said something again about your aunt's respond. Some of the things still they shut people down. When you try to communicate and somebody shuts you down in that fashion, it really breaks you. they mute you. Sometimes they mute you for life. And also, Yagabaretsi, what we also are not aware of is that children don't just trust. It's not easy for children to open up. When a child opens up to you, most probably you are the only person they'll speak to. They might never speak to any other person again. My darling, I pray that God will give you the strength to then take another step from this one. This is a very first and positive step towards your healing. I was talking to somebody today and on my Facebook page telling me, well, we should forget the past. People don't understand. You can't. And I understand as well when you're saying you're remembering it as if it happened yesterday. That's what happens in traumatic experiences like this. Yeah.
And I just want to come in there when you talk about someone saying we must forget about what happened in the past. It's easier said than done.
True.
Because being a girl being a woman that I am now and having to be a mother to my girls, that whatever happened to me many years ago, when I have to take care of my kids, the girls, it comes back to an extent that I cannot trust anyone. I don't trust anyone with my kids. So you see what happened to me many years ago, it's like I'm reliving it now. Because if somebody that was so close to me did that and I tried to communicate to 2 of my family members that did nothing about it, then how do I even begin to trust anyone with my children?
And therefore that part of your life is part of you.
It's part of me. It's part of me. So I need to revisit what happened to me so that I can be able to deal with what is happening now, you know.
That's why I'm so grateful, Cool, which you really opened up and shared. Because this is a story of many. And thinking, Guti, cases like this, rape is very big in our families.
Yes, especially the black.
As families hide these things. Abanye bathi know will handle it as a family. Danam, you can't tell the lady next door, you can't tell your educator, you can't tell anybody. Tina will deal with it as a family. Or tolo ukuthi baba next door rape a child here, or baba next door will bring 1,000 rand. And no mama like I or no auntie. Women for that matter. I'm talking about women now. I don't want to talk about men. I'm talking about mothers. You know what I mean? Would say I ubaba mosuhlawulile. Sometimes you talk to perpetrators, they don't understand why are you still talking about this thing because lomntwana muzamina ngamthengile chocolate or this kind of pain is lifetime.
And Pastor, I like the fact that you said you were speaking to women because that is what is in my heart, is to reach out to women out there to say, stop compromising your children. We have so many women dying in the hands of men, and we all cry, men are dogs, but the main dogs are the women.
Sure.
Because we are the one that give the men the power.
Sure.
Because if you don't stand up for your child, then what else? I strongly believe that the reason why you have a broken society, it goes back to us, the mothers.
True.
Because if your child is gonna tell you of the experience that they had and you do nothing about it, then what does that make you?
True.
And if you a woman and you're gonna pass your child over to the next person to raise, what does that make you? If you pass over your child to another person to raise, when that little girl or little boy is a parent, they'll reflect back.
True.
And you find that at a later stage, they are bleeding on people that didn't hurt them.
That's true.
And the cycle just keeps going
On.
on.
Yeah. I think this one we really should speak hard with women. Even as a woman, if you cry rape or you cry that I've been victimized by so and so, the first people who criticize you are women.
Women.
the first people who criticize your women. Thank you so much, Tandasam, for sharing. Really, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Really.
Monitor Western FM, maybe you are surprised why we're letting this to happen, like the conversation as it is. It's just because of, number one, Sis Lindie is the first time she opens up about this for almost more than 20 years, you know, and then it's the first time speaking so openly about it. And I can tell you, it took a lot of guts to actually stand up and say and talk, you know, because you can see now she wants to go on and to express, to say, you know what, this is the gap, this is what went wrong, and this is how we can be able to remedy the situation and stuff like that, talking about women to women, you know. So yeah, it's just unfortunate our time. Time now it is 21 minutes to. We left with about 11 minutes, you know, to end our show today. And truly, Wamshiang, you brought her to open. It's a beginning of a complete
Thank you
healing
so much.
for her. It wasn't in vain. I know that we all want to talk about this because we want the message to come forth to everybody. But it will be just unfortunate that we won't be able to talk everything that we have. We will talk every one of us, but we won't be able to express and talk about this monster that is GBV, that is actually humiliating and then scattering the families and bringing division in the families and our society. Truly, we're living in a broken society, and we cannot deny the fact that we are in that, you know. And yeah, so let me give you the opportunity to say, let me give Kabzela the opportunity to say something, and then we can be able to give others an opportunity as well. Right, Kabzela.
Okay, the story is such a sad story. What I can say is that we know that there's a lot of people that are also suffering there. Come on, guys, let's break the silence. This thing of saying no, we don't want to embarrass the family name, we don't want to embarrass so and so, it should stop. Let's try, and by all means, there are places where you can go. There's government places that you can go if you're not being heard, if you're not being heard by family or in the church or at school, whether you're a kid. There are places. There's phone numbers you can phone. If you just Google, you can always get help. We're living in the age of information where everything is on the palm of our fingers. We can search and get help. And the help, just like now we're on radio, we're trying to reach out and say, no, guys, let's talk about these things. Let's heal. And because with the trauma that you experience, it can be passed generational, and we understand that a lot of men are also perpetrators because they've been not brought up in a good family, so the families are broken. So I don't want to spend a lot of time in this, but I know that it's not just this. It's got a trail. It's coming from far, broken families. Kids are not being taught correct things. Single mothers, and the list goes on. But again, there is no excuse to abuse. We say no to violence against women or any abuse, whether emotionally or physically. No means no. Brethren, please pray for us.
Shambo?
I will talk to our listeners. Moruti, you say we are on a 4-month running the TVV stories, education. If you listened carefully to what the lady has just said, it is very sad. You guys have said that. She has said much about the missing of missing out of a decision. She wasn't decisive from the on the first occasion when this happened. She realized that the old man is going too far, too far, too far. You know, this putting a tongue, I think Maruti, you knew it. We used to do it long when we were still growing. Do you remember this time? It used to be called an LTK. LTK keys. You only did it, you know it in Manavata. It only happened,
You did those things to us.
No. That happened to those that you have agreed in love with, in a relationship with. Then you even start saying, and that
To
will
show that you
that will be LTK.
Yeah.
So nowadays, or not kids, you wouldn't do that to kids or your relatives. You only did it not to two ladies, to one that you were in love with. Okay, my point is, Lindie, our victim, I always want to put it that way, yeah, who comes out saying, victim, she's becoming herself, she's getting out of that skin of a victim, yeah. What happens to us listeners, it's not being decisive. The lady has just said, this happened, she did not like it in the first place. She wanted to tell us, whoever. Had she, as we always say no from the first day. Say no and speak aloud. Say no and make a noise about whatever that. Had she gone out and say, where we, no, she wouldn't be where we are. But the reasons of relative, Lady has just talked to me as we came in here. This relative, it's a chain of cruelty. Yeah, it's a chain of cruelty. Because you don't understand, the family of Lindie is not a family of 4 elders. It's a family of quite an extensive, what you call, elders. Why wouldn't one who probably close to the auntie, being the biological of the sister, come and say, Sissy, how are you living with my sister's child? We always know that there should be a reason where you would have to give me your child, am I right? Yeah, it's because there's a very vital reason. So, but one has to make it his job or her job to come and say, how do you do? You know, we take kids to school. When kids come back from school, we say, how was school? Well, you know, this is what should happen to all parents. Then this will stop. To all, even the boys. The brother of Sis Lindie was brave enough. Sis Lindie didn't want to say this. She had her fees. And the guy said, no, Oza, umama nagu, hey, because in Oza. Then umama, wakali, wa indlovu, you know what I'm saying. But all what I'm saying is, ladies and gentlemen out there, our listeners, Muruti, this issue all along, I'm telling you, it will help us.
Round table
is going to help us. I mean, a round table is truly going to help us. Now, one will ask, where do we go from here? She has told you. What do we do?
Yeah.
No, she's in good hands. She will be coming here and telling you her story better than Mamuruti or Ari. Nale Mamuruti, rensa di kulana.
Yeah.
Rensa di kulana. It's about to want to get kulana. Yeah, very soon too. You heard how brave she is.
Yeah.
She's just that those things kill me.
It's the first time we understand. It's the first time out of 20 years.
Sure. What's about Muruti? You may find that even the listeners, we need to look at the source or sources. Should I say sources?
No, say sources.
Sources.
Because of we spoke about that earlier, Larry, we need to include all stakeholders.
Thank you.
You know,
Thank you.
your pastors, your social workers, your Jewish, Islamic,
Yes.
your traditionalists, traditional healers,
Exactly,
and
yes.
all those people. They must say, how do they perceive, or how do they see, or how do they understand GBV?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because of, as a pastor, you will understand it in this way. Somebody will understand it in this way. A culture, people will understand it in this way. So when we are there, all of us, we will come out with a clear mind to say, abuse is abuse.
At the
GBV,
end of the day,
it's a
whether
GBV.
the culture says what,
Yeah.
whether the church says what, but it happens to a human
Being.
a human being
Yeah.
who does not deserve this.
Yeah.
You know, Muruti, what you say to me now, it reminds me, Muruti.
Yes, sir.
Like I say, I nearly called you, but I knew that you were meeting up here.
Mm.
I met a very grown-up lady. And the very, you know, we go out there searching for our victims to help
Okay.
them. Yeah. A very grown-up lady is married, she's fine, drives good cars, but the problem is she's married to, she's the second wife, or she's the wife to a man who has kids out of this woman.
Okay.
Now this woman attended a very serious ceremony on Saturday, but she was not happy at all where she was. She was on her toes saying, I have to go fetch my stepdaughter.
Okay.
Then I looked at her. I said to Kabzela, this is one of our clients, though she doesn't want to speak up.
To speak out, yeah.
Then when I told her about us, say we are here in this and this, we listen to this, we gave her the links. She started saying, Jesus, you are a good people. And I say, this is where I say we should look at also those where it emanates.
Mm.
Yeah.
One mother, we're looking at the young ones, one mother of your age is married to a very good and loving man. But this man, when it comes to his daughter, to my Palisa or Kantleko, I'm forcing my present wife to love Palisa, to take care of Palisa. And at the same time, Palisa is not fond of the woman in the life of the father.
Okay.
And this woman has to sacrifice to Palisa and sacrifice to me for the rest of her life, or luckily Palisa gets married somewhere. Kungenjalo, umshado obviously will be shaky. There are guys who are out there having the same opposite of this. Marrying women, having kids, but they need to take care of the kids. The kids are not fond of them. But because they are scared of the women, I mean they are lovers, they have to play like Sis Lindie. Sis Lindie she's married, right? She has kids. Listen to what to the pain that is Kuluma Wen's daughter we feel. Sis Lindie trusts nobody, even the husband, close to her kids. Okay? Because this was installed by her mother in her mind. She saw they are ruthless in her mother. Right now, what happens? The kids are being they are being disadvantaged. Because the kids needs to explore
Sure.
as kids so that they get to see all these things by themselves and come and report to her. Hurry, hey, you got that day like you know what I'm saying? But now they will never see that, which is something that will make the mother to be a perpetrator of violence to these kids. She's violating their rights. Their rights. As we are doing, talking now, she's violating their rights. She's bitter. She got to a marriage because she had feelings. But in the true fact, she wasn't supposed to be there.
She's got trust issues.
Trust issues.
Yeah, no, but WSFM time now, it is 7 minutes to 9 o'clock Murtuat. Yeah, or Kubile already. Pastor Kosi, last week happy. This week. Yeah. Get only for 30 seconds each. That's all I show.
That was
Yeah.
Lady Ja, thank you, Lem, for having us.
It's a pleasure.
My call is to leaders of faith out there. You would be very hollow, and the leaders of faith have to be there. Okay, so let's come together. If you want to talk to me, let's take this conversation further. As Baruti, as leaders of faith from any religion, let's talk about the issues of gender-based violence. Let's talk about how do we help or push for them to happen, or how best can we stop them in our congregations, in the communities. And as the Evangelical Alliance of South Africa, we do believe that we need to pray for one another. This is a deep, it's evil. Let's pray for those who are still trapped in these relationships, who are looking for a way out.
Thank you very much. Cicely?
I would like to encourage everyone, listeners out there, women specifically, to be true to yourselves. Take care of your children. It doesn't matter the circumstances that you are in, but take care of your own, so that we can put an end to the curve of GBV.
Thank you. Kabzula.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'd like to say to the listeners again, I repeat, pray for us, and just to encourage those people who have been victims. We just want to say to you guys, it's not your fault.
Maruti, now I've got just one very crucial message to our listeners. Please, listeners, look how cruel is GBV. Again, you see the husband, the father, the perpetrator is late. She's now faced with the mother, who might be now begging for her support in life, in social life, in whatever life, yeah,
financial support.
Yeah. And then if she doesn't do that because she forgot that this, or she forgot that this one told me that my husband raped her, and I did not do anything. She forgot, but she's expecting. That's how human being is. She forgot that this one is still bitter, but she's expecting something. Now when she faces it, because as Kulumo went and that, we want her to face the person. Remember, you stopped this, you stopped me when I was reporting this. This is where I am.
Thank you.
Bashabasa so ratana ngahulu. Le ratane hahulu. Le rate bana balona. Ntate ya sarate mbana, ya sarate mofumadu hai, asa faneng ka tšhelete ka lapeng, ya sabeng ka lapeng ka mehla, ha nnete e ba monna, a e le ntate. Monna he ke motho fela wa modimo. Na o mfumana ata o ya ipfelelang pela tsela mo o mo feta fela wa mothusi. Hallelujah.
Jaledi.
Baretsi ba WSFM re lebogetse gore le bile le rona, and Lindie, it takes a strong person gore a emele a bue. Because of GBV, it's a complex conversation, because of, especially ga osoka ukilo bana re kgone go understand, because of kwena o itseng pain o le mo go yona, and kwena pain o itseng pain o fitile mo go yona. But for that re o strong, and then le wena ba re tse go gae, please lisa didimalang are ring not in our name, because of this cannot go on. It has to stop today and right now. Ke a leboga.
Re go leboge Peter Mosehle for watching. Re go leboge Esther Mokwena. Re go leboge Michael David for watching. Ntombi Masango, RGBV is an abuse on steroids. Yeah?
Steroids, yes.
Yeah, perpetrators must be punished. GBV has been tolerated by our parents and grandparents under Begezela. Yeah, under Begezela. So Mrisona WSFM, thank you very much. And then next week we will see what we can be able to do. If we feel as presenters for this is not where it was supposed to, we will still come. But roundtable is on the way. We are going to do a roundtable talk. And God bless you. I'll speak to you tomorrow. Shalom, shalom.
Bye.